Hello guys, I'm Yadagiri Reddy and welcome to my channel hyrtutorials. In this video, I will explain about extent report configuration using Java, JSON and XML, which means how you can modify the extent report configuration using Java programming language and JSON files and XML files. So all these points I'm going to clearly show you guys, so don't worry at all. Fine. So I'll show you how to change the configuration using Java, and I will show you how to change the configuration using JSON files and also using XML files. Fine. So before we jump into this topic, let me tell you one small example so that you can understand this topic very clearly, guys. Right? So in general, whenever you purchase any mobile or laptop, you will have some default setting inside that one, right? So whenever you purchase any mobile and when you switch on that, it will have a default wallpaper and it will have some default apps and it will have some default theme, and there is a menu style also in default, and everything will be some default things, right? So if you don't like them, what you are going to do? You will not return the mobile, right? Because your mobile is providing some options to change those things. So in those scenarios, why you need to return the mobile? You are not going to return the mobile, right? All you need to do is just change those things. If you don't like the wallpaper, change the wallpaper. If you don't like the theme, change the theme. If you don't like the font size, change the font size. If you don't like the icons, change the icons, right? So all these things you are actually changing. So this is called as configuration, guys. So your mobile is having some configuration and you are changing that configuration. So in this case, your mobile configuration is your default wallpaper is so and so, your default theme is so and so, like that. It has some configuration. So your mobile is providing an option to change that configuration. That means override that configuration using your own things, right? Your own options basically. So just like that, in every scenario, there will be some configuration changes that we can make to the product, right? So if you don't like the look and feel of the mobile, you are not going to return the mobile. All you need to do is just make some configuration changes so that you can like the mobile, right? So in the similar way, even in the extent reports also, if you don't like the default look and feel, or if you want to change something in the extent reports, you can modify that, guys. So you can make those configuration changes using Java, JSON and XML files. So I will show you what are the changes we are going to do and how we are going to do, and all these things I will show you. Fine. So basically these are the changes we are going to perform, guys. So we are going to change the theme and we are going to change the report name. We are going to change the document title and date and timestamp format. And if you don't like any color coding in your extent reports, you can apply some CSS to change that. And if you want to run any JavaScript, you can run the JavaScript also in your extent reports. So all these things we can actually change in the extent reports. Fine. So let me tell you what exactly these things are. So the first thing is change the theme, right? So let me go to the default extent reports. So this is the extent reports that is provided in the extent reports website itself, right? So I haven't generated this one. It is coming from the extent reports website only. So this is the default extent reports. So this is how when you generate any extent reports, it will look like. So if you don't like this theme, so there are actually two types of themes in general, right? So there will be a standard theme and there will be a dark theme. Even in your operating system or in your mobile, anywhere if you go, there will be two type of themes, right? Dark and standard. So standard is nothing but this white color only, and dark is kind of black, right? So if you want to change the theme, how you are going to do that? So not after report generation, guys. If you want to change the theme while report generation itself, how you are going to do that? So that is a configuration basically, right? So after the report generation, you can change that. There are some shortcuts to change that. That is fine. But while generating the report itself, if you want to change, then you need to make some changes to the configuration. So now we have applied the dark theme, right? So this is how the dark theme will look like. And this is how the normal theme will look like. So if you want to apply the dark theme, how you are going to do that? And if you want to apply only this standard theme, how you are going to do that? So that we will see. And then change the report name. So whenever you are generating multiple reports, for every report you want to provide some name. So how you are going to provide the name for that report? So till now we haven't seen how to generate multiple reports. So in the next video I'm going to show you that one, guys. Okay. So here there will be something called report name. So here in this report, that report name is not actually displayed, but when I generate that, you can see that. Okay. So just to differentiate between multiple reports, you can provide the report name also. And the other one is change the document title. So for every web page, so here when I say document, that is HTML document, guys. It's not a Word document or Excel document. It's HTML document. That means your report file basically. So for your report file, there will be a title, right? So for every HTML, you will have a title and that will be displayed here. So in this scenario, there is no title. So that is why your entire URL is being displayed as a title. But if you want to provide any title, how you are going to do that? So that I will show you. And change the date and timestamp format. So here the report generation date and timestamp is there, right? On the top right corner, you have something called August 13, 2020, 4:51:26 p.m., right? So this is the report generation date and time. If you don't like this, or if you want to modify the timestamp format, so let's say you want to provide in the DDMMYYY format. So instead of August 13, 2020, you want to provide in the format of 13/08/2020. So how you are going to change this one? And then apply the CSS. So if you don't like any color, let's say for this date only, we have the blue color, right? So if you want to change this color to any red color or black color, how you are going to do that? And then run the JavaScript. So if you want to run any JavaScript, how you are going to do that one? So let's say here we have something called this extend reports logo, right? So, but I don't want to show this extend reports logo. So what you can do? You can just run some JavaScript here. You can just make it disappear. Okay. So how we are going to do these things, we will see in this video, guys. So I'll show you all these things with the Java, JSON and XML also, guys. Fine. So let's jump into the Eclipse. So first let me create one more class file here. Chapter 8. So here I'm not going to remove any of the test here because my focus is completely on the configuration side, not on the test, right? So it can be any number of tests and any type of test you can have. So we are mainly focusing on the configuration here. So how you are going to do the configuration changes and where you need to do the configuration changes. So whenever you open any extend reports code, you will have two objects mainly, right? One is extend reports object and the other one is Spark Reporter object. So for which one you need to make the configuration changes? So which is actually helping you to create the report? Your Spark Reporter is helping you to create the report, right? So this is where you actually provided your file details and all, right? So for this Spark Reporter, you have to make the configuration changes. So when I told you you can generate multiple reports, for every report you can have a different configuration, right? If you make the changes to extend reports, then all your reports will have only one kind of configuration, which is not a good option, right? So that is why if you make the changes to the Spark Reporter, for every generated report, you can have a different configuration also. You got it? So let's make the changes to Spark Reporter itself. So here, Spark Reporter dot. So you cannot actually access all the methods directly on top of Spark Reporter. What you need to do, you need to call something method called config. So when you call config, it will return you extend Spark Reporter config. So it will return you one instance, that is extend Spark Reporter config instance. So within this extend Spark Reporter config only, you can make the configuration changes, guys. Spark Reporter dot config dot. So first let's apply some theme and then report name, then document title. So everything we are going to change, but one by one we are going to change. So first let's apply the theme. So there is a method called setTheme. So it will accept the parameter in the form of a enum. So theme is a enum here. Theme dot. You can see there are two type of themes, dark and standard. So I want to apply the dark theme because by default standard is there, right? The standard is nothing but the white color theme. And I want to apply the dark theme. So here we are using the method chaining process while creating the test, right? So that kind of operation you cannot do here. Because when you look at the setTheme method, it is returning nothing. It is not returning the same instance again. So it is returning void. So on void, you cannot call any other method, right? So there are no proposals here. That means you cannot call any method on the void. So you have to repeat this line multiple times, guys. You got it? You have to repeat this line multiple times. Dot. So next we are going to change the report name. So let me give the report name. So for that, the method name is set report name. So here I'll just mention as report name only so that you can understand where this is actually generating and what exactly it is. So that is why I'm providing it as report name only. Fine. And then document title, right? Spark reporter dot config dot set document title. So for document title also, I'll just mention doc title. So I'm providing like this so that you can easily understand. So wherever this text is displayed, you can understand that that is the doc title. And wherever this text is displayed, you can understand that that is the place where your report name will come, right? So that is why I'm providing like this. And after this, we are going to change the date and timestamp format, right? Config dot set timestamp format. The method name will not be date and timestamp format. The method name will be set timestamp format only. So you need to provide the timestamp format in the string format, guys. So I will say dd hyphen mm hyphen yyyy space hh mm and ss. So this is the format I'm providing. So which means first date will be displayed, then month will be displayed, then year will be displayed, and everything will be separated by this hyphen, and then hours, minutes and seconds. Fine. So after that, apply the CSS. So if you want to apply any CSS, how you are going to apply that? So let me show you guys. So let's say I want to apply the CSS to this date only. So I want to change this color. So how you are going to change that? So first let's inspect that element, and here if you see there is something called background color property, right? So you know what exactly CSS is, right? So if you want to see the CSS for any element, you can see under styles here. So in the styles you have all the CSS. If you want to change the font size, let's say 50 only, you can do that. Or if you want to apply any background color, you can do that. So just change the background color to any other color here like this. Let's keep some dark red color. So I want to change this style. So how you can change that? So here you can see this is the class, right? So this is the class that is provided to this span. So I will use the same thing, guys. So I'll just use the same class, spark reporter dot config dot set CSS. So you have to provide your entire CSS in the form of string. Okay. So I'll put double quotes and here the class name, and then I'm going to apply the CSS. So within the brackets, I need to apply this background color, and this is the color, right? So I'll just mention that. That's it. Fine. And next, what we need to do? We need to make this one as disappear. This extend reports logo as disappeared, right? So this has some class that is logo. So let's take that. And here you can first write something like document. First you need to identify the element, right? So document dot get elements by class name, and the class name is logo. It will return multiple elements because it's get elements by class name. So out of this you want to get only the first element, and dot there is something called style dot display. So you can apply the style. Inside the style you will have something called display, and you can make that display as none like this. Okay. So when you execute that, you can see the logo is disappeared. So if I execute this JavaScript while generation of report itself, this logo will not be displayed, right? So that is what I'm going to do now. So I just refresh this so that everything will back to normal. And here spark reporter dot config dot set JS. So even the JS also you need to provide in the form of a string only. Okay. So this is the JS, guys. So now everything is applied, right? So you don't have to make any other changes. You have a Spark reporter, and for Spark reporter you are modifying the configuration. You got it? So let me just run this, run as Java application. So now you can see the theme is changed to dark. So that means the first one is working, set theme is working, and then report name and document title. Let's see that. So here the report name is displayed, right? And on the top you can see the doc title. So this is the place where report name will come, and this is the place where doc title will come. And then your date and timestamp format also changed. dd mm yyyy hours, minutes and seconds. So this is the default date and timestamp format, but we have modified that, right? And we also applied the CSS to this one. If you change the dark theme here, even then your date and time will have the blue color only as a background. But because we have modified that CSS, it is coming in the red color. Correct? And also your logo is not appearing here, right? So which means the CSS and JavaScript both executed successfully. So we have made some configuration changes to the extend reports, guys. You understood, right? So this is how you are going to change the configuration of the extend reports using Java programming language directly. So every extend report configuration change we are mentioning directly in the Java only, right? But apart from this Java, you can mention in the JSON file and XML file also. So I will show you that one also, guys. Don't worry. And in this itself, I'm going to show you one more thing, guys. So instead of writing spark_reporter.config every time, what you can do, you can actually store this entire thing in one instance. Extend reporter config. You can create one instance like this, and you can specify this one inside this one, guys. So you are basically getting the configuration of the Spark reporter and storing it into config variable. So you can apply all of your methods on this config variable now, like this. So instead of writing this big lengthy one, you can write something like this also. You got it? So let me just run this and see whether it is working correctly or not. Now you see, it is working perfectly, right? So now let's use the JSON related configuration, which means loading the configuration from the JSON file, not directly from the Java file. So in this thing, what is the drawback? So for example, tomorrow I want to make any changes to this configuration. I need to go to the Java file, right? But sometimes we will provide this entire Java file as a jar file also to some people, right? So in those scenarios, it will be very difficult to change any configuration inside the Java file. Because you are providing it as a jar file, you cannot actually access the files inside that one directly. I mean, you cannot modify it, right? You can actually call that thing, but you cannot modify the file. So in those scenarios, it will become very difficult. So that's why we are going to store the entire configuration in the JSON format or XML format. So now let's do that. But how you are going to get this JSON or XML data? I mean, you need to have something, right? So you need to have like Kelton or something, a template. So otherwise, how you are going to do that? So don't worry, extend report is providing you the template also, guys. So just go to the extend reports website. Okay, first let me show you from the start. So go to the extend reports website and go to the docs version 5, and we are in the Java. So we are selecting Java, and here we have something called GitHub, right? Or you can directly go to GitHub. You can directly type GitHub extend reports Java. So anything is fine, guys. You can open this one, or you can just click on the GitHub here. So when you click on this, both of these things are going to take you to the same place. So here we need to work with extend reports Java. So click on this one. And here there is a folder called config, right? So just open that folder and you can see the templates. JSON template and XML template is provided here. So you can copy this thing into your files and you can work with that. Okay. So first let's take the JSON. So I'll copy this entire data. And let me go back to this one. And let's create the configuration file here. Where do you keep the configuration files usually? Under src test and resources, right? So here I'll create one file. I'll name this as extend reports config. Okay, .json. And let me just click on this. So it will open in the default text editor for me in the Eclipse. So this is the configuration, guys. So let's apply the same configuration into this one. You need to modify these properties basically. So here standard is displayed, right? So you need to write dark. If you want dark theme, you need to write dark here, right? And for report name, what you want to apply. So what is your report name? So let's say my report name is report name only. Okay. And what is your document title? So my document title is doc title. And what is your date and timestamp format? So let's change that one. dd hyphen mm hyphen yyyy and then hh mm ss. And then what is your JavaScript and what is your CSS? So if you want to provide that, you can just copy from here and put it here. So this is a CSS first, right? And then this is the JavaScript. So it's just that you are providing every value inside the configuration file. Instead of providing directly into this one, you are providing in the configuration file. So apart from this, there are a few more things, but we are not going to use all of these things, guys. Fine. So now let me show you. Okay, so let me remove this entire thing, or let me comment it for now. So even this one I'll comment. So now we have only the Spark reporter. So inside the Spark reporter, you need to load the JSON file, right? Your entire configuration is stored inside the JSON file only. So you need to just load this JSON file into the Spark reporter configuration. So there is a method called load JSON config. So it basically has two overloaded methods. One is accepting file as a parameter and the other one is accepting string as a parameter. Even if you have the data or if you have the configuration in the XML file also, these are the methods. It's just similar to the JSON only, guys. So if you read the entire JSON data and if you are just keeping it in the string, then you can use this second method. And if you want to directly provide the file, you can use the first one. So here I'll just go with the file only. So I'll specify the file path. You can provide the entire file path or you can provide the relative path also. Anything is fine. So let's just say /src/test/resources/ what is the file name? So this is the file name, right? Extend report config.json. This is the file name. Okay. So I'm just adding one file instance directly here, but you can add the file instance outside just like this. And you can provide the file instance also here, similar to this one. But I'm directly providing here. Okay. So this is the only thing that you need to do, guys, if you are referring to the JSON. Fine. So let me just run this. Now you see, we are getting the same report, right? Nothing is changed. But we are not actually providing the configuration from the Java. We are providing the configuration from the JSON file this time. So even I can remove this entire thing, guys. Okay. So I'll run this. Now you see, we are getting the same report. So we are able to generate the same extent report with these configuration changes using JSON file also. So nothing is changed. First you need to understand what exactly these things are. Then you need to provide the values. So in this scenario, even if I provide it as a jar to anyone also, they can go to the JSON file and they can modify the configuration. Correct? So that is the beauty of these configuration files. So now let's take the XML file also. So here let's go back and this is the XML file. And let me copy this entire XML configuration also. And I'm going to create one XML file. And let me name it as extend reports config.xml. Your file name can be anything, guys. For you, it should be meaningful thing. Fine. So inside this, I'll just paste this. So let's come from the start. So this should be dark. And in the XML, you can see the options are also directly provided here, guys. So what are the default options you can provide? So all those things also provided here. Fine. And this is the document title. You can change this to doc title. And report name. You can change the report name to report name. So in your scenario, you can change the report name to anything. But here I'm just providing the report name as a report name itself. And so this is dd mm yyyy hh mm and ss. You got it? And here one more important thing that might be useful for you is this one, guys. Thumbnail for base64. So whenever you are adding any screenshot as a base64 image, you will not directly get the thumbnail, right? So if you want to see that as a thumbnail also, you can mark it as true. So your thumbnail will be displayed. Fine. So let's now run this with this XML file and let's see. So here we need to use the method called load XML config. So we are loading the XML related configuration, right? And here I'll just modify this to XML because my file names are actually same. You see, the file names are actually same except the extension here. So I'm using the same line, but I'm loading the XML configuration here and I have modified the file name also here. That's it. There's no other change, guys. Okay. So let's run this and see. So now you see the dark theme is applied and doc title is there and report name is there, and we did not actually apply any JavaScript and CSS this time. So those things are not displayed here, right? So this is how you are going to change anything in the configuration for extent reports, guys. You can do it from the Java, or you can do it from the JSON file, or you can do it even from the XML file also. But I would suggest you to go with the JSON file only, because JSON file is a lightweight file, right? So comparing to the XML, JSON is the lightweight format of the file. So that is why just go with the JSON file, guys. Fine. So this is how you are going to change the configuration of the extent reports using Java, JSON and XML. So we have seen all these options, right? So just practice these things, guys, because whenever you are generating extent reports, right, in your project, you might need to change some configuration based on the requirement. So that is why practice all the things in this one. And if you have any doubts, please mention them in the comment section below. So that is for this video, guys. Thank you. Bye bye.